Hello, guys. Today I have again Arran Macdougall, and he's a relationship coach for men. And thank you so much for being here, Arran, for the second time.
You're so welcome.
So, why I ask you, like, why I want to talk to you again? Because with the pandemic and the bad of history we are living in now, is I see a lot of men, like, uh, like a nervous according to the jobs because I can perceive that their masculinity is related to the job to provide to the family. So let's talk about that, how that masculinity and jobs related to each other and how we can find ways where we don't feel like a men, they stop feeling like I'm not good enough about not having a job.
Sure. So, as and I think that's a really good topic to talk about at the moment and a good awareness. And I think, look, I don't necessarily think like masculinity and jobs are linked together. I think that's just our perception of them. So,
Hmm.
I think a lot of us as men, and I'm generalizing massively here, but a pattern I see a lot in men is like we don't always have the best role model, and it's not their fault because they didn't have necessarily a great role model either, and their their role in the family was as a provider. So if we look at like our parents' generations, but definitely their our grandparents' generation before that, the man's role was very men and women had very defined roles. As a man, you would go out, you would work, you would provide for the family. So I think a lot of men took a lot of pride in that because they didn't necessarily contribute to the family in any other way. They didn't generally help with the childcare. They didn't necessarily cook. They didn't necessarily clean. There's obviously exceptions to that, but so I don't necessarily think that masculinity is tied in with providing for a family. I think that's just our perception, and I think that has started to shift. Like we're seeing maybe more dads stay at home looking after the kids, or you know maybe parents working part-time so that they can both spend more time with the children, women going back to work earlier, which is fantastic. So I think this pandemic's maybe the catalyst for even more change, and I think it's needed. I think we need to see men and women as equal. Different. I believe we're very, very different in the way we go about things and the things we bring to a relationship, which is wonderful. But yeah, I think if you're a man at the moment and you are feeling kind of like you're not worthy because you're not providing, this is a wonderful opportunity to realize that you are so much more than a paycheck. You are so much more than your job. And I think a lot of men get a lot of significance from their work. Like as you know, we need significance in our lives. We need to draw it from somewhere.
Mm. Mm.
And if we're respected at work, if we're good at our job, if maybe we have a leadership position at work, or we own our own business, like whatever it might be, we get a lot of significance from that. So if that's taken away from us for whatever reason, the COVID-19 or bankruptcy, whatever it might be, it's difficult to not take that personally. And just because maybe our business is failing or we don't have, that doesn't make us a failure, right? So it's maybe looking at other ways of, okay, so how else can I contribute to my relationship, to the world at large? Like, just because you have a set of skills, just because you're not being paid for those at the moment, doesn't mean you can't utilize those in other ways.
That is so good, because that is the thing is what we perceive, and as well what we have learned in our childhood, like what is a man, and it's I relate to what you're saying. That is so good, so good. And so, do you have any examples like how men can shift that thinking, like that perception into not feeling not good enough or not feeling worthy? Do you have something? How you can help them?
Sure. Look, I think the best way to shift these limiting beliefs is to speak to a coach personally. Like, that's what I do. Like, if I keep coming up against a wall, or there's something I know that a good metric for me is I look at my reaction to things emotionally, like how I respond to things and how my wife does. And then we've had very different upbringings. So if something happens and she's not triggered and she's dealing with it in a calm way, then I go, okay, maybe there's something for me to work on here. Do you know what I mean? So I try and use maybe other people, like not just anyone, not just some random person off the street, but someone who I respect, maybe a mentor or something like that. And I look at them and go, okay, how did they handle themselves in that situation? So, an example I might give is I used to get very like triggered and frustrated around money, but my wife doesn't. And her dad's a business owner, and he does very well. He's got a wonderful relationship with money. So I'd kind of look at him as a financial role model and go, okay, like how does he respond when this happens, and when there's bills to pay, how does he react? And it's looking at, so maybe is there like a mentor, role model, someone that, and it doesn't have to necessarily be someone you know personally. It can be like a well-known personal development, like a guru type thing, or a coach, or even to a certain extent like a celebrity, someone who you share similar values with, and go, okay, how do they respond in this scenario? How could I respond differently? And journaling's also another great way. And I know a lot of men don't do this, and this is something that I never did, and I do now. And it's about getting your thoughts down on paper and getting like a kind of physical, tangible list of your ideas, and then you can kind of go back later and look at it and go, oh, okay, so this is how because when we're heightened and we're in an emotional state, it's difficult to logic our way out of that sometimes.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So
exactly.
Journaling, like writing down, okay, so what am I feeling here? And ask yourself some questions like, why am I feeling this way? And just, there's no right or wrong. Just kind of, it feels weird at first. You almost feel like you're writing nothing, but just trust yourself. Just get some ideas down on paper, and you might find you start to flow, and you might get some really good insights that way. So talk to a coach if you can. Look for like a mentor or a role model, someone who's already done the work in this space, and kind of model yourself, see how they would respond. And then third, start journaling, like start getting your thoughts, your emotions down on paper, and maybe that's when you can see where the gaps are. So it's okay, I always feel this way, because you will find that what really makes you angry and triggers you won't even affect someone else. And it's understanding, okay, why is that? Like, it's not because what they experience is any less. Like, someone might lose their job, and one person will just go, okay, this is an amazing opportunity, it's time for me to follow my passions or start my business or whatever it is, and another person will just completely crumble. Now, it's exactly the same event, but one person reacts differently to the other. And what's the difference? They might have the same amount of money in the bank, they might have the same resources, they might have the same education, but one person takes it as an opportunity and one person doesn't, and that is 100% mindset. So yeah, it's about cultivating that mindset.
Yeah, that is a good way you say, because for me, a coach, whoever, like a business coach, relationship coach, any coach, is a shortcut to success. And some people just want one tip or 3 tips, but it's not like that, because like you said, we have to change our mindset in order to change the external. And we as coaches, we have working ourselves to become who we are. And for that reason, we are in this position, helping others to reach their full potential in all of the areas of their lives. Yeah. So I'm totally agree with what you say. So that is so good as well about journaling, because when we have everything written, we stop the fog in here and all the time overthinking and overanalyzing. Like we stop that. That is so good, so good. So men and women, they can journal up to you guys, the person who's watching, and as well, Arran has shared a lot of insight in there what you can do at the same time after journaling. That is so good, so good, so good stuff. I love it. Just
and just quickly on what you said about coaching being a shortcut to success. Like, I don't necessarily agree with that, because I mean, I don't like the word shortcut, because as you know, like, the work that we've done and we continue to do, I think shortcuts, it sounds easy, and it's not easy. Like, it's work, it's confronting, but I think a lot of people, they're just wondering, they don't have direction. So I love the metaphor of, like, if you got in your car and you wanted to, say because you're up in Brisbane, right? Like, if you wanted to drive down to Sydney, you jump in your car, you grab your sat nav, you put Sydney in, and then it gives you like what road to take. It gives you what you're going to expect, how long it's going to expect you to take, and then you've just got direction. You can go straight there. Imagine if you just jumped in your car, started it up, drove to the end of your road, and were like, should
Where
I
do
go
I
left or right?
go?
Yeah, I'm right feels good today. I'm going to go right, and then you drive, and then a road's closed, so you have to do a U-turn and come back. And I think so many people go through life, they're just driving, just going wherever they feel like going at any different time. And I think having a coach is a really good way to, it's almost, you know, like a sat nav for your brain. You get some direction, and then someone can tell you, okay, are you on the right track? Are you not? Like, is this in line with what you want? You know, where are your barriers? Where are your roadblocks? And we can start clearing those, and it just gives you direction of where to go.
Yeah, I see. I didn't get how it a shortcut to success you are not agree with, because it's like a similar. It's the same way people says, "Oh yeah, I'm so lucky." No, we have done the work. You have done the work. You know. So, I remember I was interviewing another relationship coach for women, and she was saying, "Oh, I'm so lucky." I said, "No, you just said has done the work," and I think those words have been like bad use somehow. Yeah. This is so good conversation because I like how you explain things with the metaphor as well. I'm working with a client. I'm so looking forward to work with her, and she all the time is speaking here, picking over there, picking over there, picking over, but she's not aligned with what she has to come to do in the world. You know, it's now what I can see is an amazing opportunity to do like a self-reflection and to see what we like, what we don't like, what we are good at, and what we are not good at, and just follow a path and find a coach. Because a coach, like I said, is a shortcut to success, but it's a person who guides us. How can you define a coach?
100%.
How can you define
Sorry?
a coach? How can you define a coach?
Well, I suppose it was just what I was saying about it. Coaches are many things, you know, giving you direction is one thing, but I suppose what coaching isn't, and I get sometimes people come to me and they want to just like, they want to be told what to do. And that's like a mentor, right? Like that's someone who has a success that you want, and they give you like action steps to take. You know, it's like, okay, you're going to write this kind of content, and you're going to like post it 3 times a day, and, you know, in these groups, or you're going to make this many phone calls. And what I do more as a coach is I look at what is standing in someone's way. So often, and this is true for my journey, is I had all these like undefined fears, you know, from stuff that I'd happened to me as a child, or conditioning I'd had over the years at school. And, you know, like we spoke earlier about being a man, and all these limiting beliefs and untruths I had about the world. And I was in this box, and I was kept in this box by my own kind of beliefs. And then as I started working with coaches, it's kind of having another person's perspective, and like you said, someone who's done the work to say, but is that really true? Like, I know that's what you believe, and I know that's what your dad believed, and I know that's what your granddad believed, and your whole family believed, and maybe your whole culture believes that, but is that really true? And it's someone who kind of bounce ideas off, and someone to champion us as well. Like, that's a big thing. We don't often get, you know, to celebrate our success, especially in Australia, you know, that whole tall poppy syndrome. What I love about the coaching community is if you have a win, you tell people, they're genuinely happy for you. And sometimes, you know, in our social circles or in our families, we'll share success, and it might seem like we're bragging, or it might trigger them. You know, if you turned around and said, you know, I just got a, you know, $2,000 client, or a $5,000 client, or I just made $10,000 this month, they might get quite triggered, because they're very, you know, their money beliefs very limited belief and small mindset, and they, you know, there's all that fear around money, maybe from debt or childhood or divorce or whatever it might be. And I'm very respectful of these things, because I had a lot of this, you know, scarcity mindset around money myself growing up. So, you know, you might share this, something you're really excited about sharing, and then it's shut down straight away. It's, oh, we don't talk about money in this family, or it's rude to talk about money. Or money is just a good example to use. So, you know, a coach is a safe space where you can go and say, hey, like I did this today and I'm really proud of myself. And they can go, yeah, you know, like, do you know what? You have done a lot of work and you should be proud of that and you should celebrate. And, you know, people don't, I'm actually doing a course at the moment. Yale University are doing the science of happiness and well-being. It's actually free online to do at the moment. It's really, really interesting. And they talked about how savoring is one of the like massively underrated elements of happiness, because if we get a win in our society, we're like straight on to the next thing. You know, it's like, oh, you just got a promotion, like get ready because here, you know, now the hard work starts. Or, you know, you've just had a baby. Okay, well, get ready for the sleepless nights, and you've got to be prepared for all this. And it's like, well, hang on, can't we just like take a second and just look like how amazing is this? You know, like a human life just been born. Difficult at the moment, granted, but when this is, you know, the whole pandemic thing's passed, get your family around and celebrate. And I think there's a lot of cultures, other cultures do that probably better than we do in the Western world. We're almost kind of looking for the next thing, and it's nice to make a big deal out of things sometimes. And coaching is definitely a space where you're encouraged to celebrate your wins, because we know that, you know, our neurology, like, is wired to, if we experience something good and we celebrate, then our brain seeks more of that. So if we're cheating ourselves out of that dopamine hit, you know, if we've done something really, really good and worked really, really hard to have a win, and then we cheat ourselves and don't give ourselves that dopamine hit, we're not going to seek that out as much again the next time. Whereas if we do something well, if we get that dopamine hit, if we love it, then our brain's like, we want more, right? We want more success in a real healthy way. And that's going to drive us forward to get what we want. So, you know, just being validated for what we're hearing, celebrating our wins, having a safe space to share ideas. You know, this is what coaching is. And like step-by-step guide, for me, that's what coaching isn't.
Same. Yes. Sorry. Speaking in Spanglish. So good, because you touch different points in there, especially about the difference in culture and how we have been raised up. Personally, I thought, because I am from Chile, Latina, so I thought success is only for blue eyes and white skin,
Yeah.
not for a brunette like me. So, and then I see the Kardashians or Selena Gomez, and it's like, I think there's something wrong with my belief. They have to work through that, sincerely. And I have worked a lot, as well, how you were saying about the type of B syndrome is in everywhere, you know, only in Australia, it's in everywhere. But it's about behind the type of B syndrome, like, oh, not celebrating success, or drag you down, is the belief of, I cannot have that. And that is the behind of that surface, you know. And so good to find a coach who can help you guys, for anybody who's watching this or listening to this, because it's going to help you to see behind the surface. So in my case, I love it. I love doing that, to see behind the surface. I love it.
Yeah. And just on that quickly, this is something that I did early on, was, and a mentor of mine told me to do this, is to celebrate other people's wins. You know, if you're not comfortable celebrating your own win, and you find like little pangs of jealousy, or, you know, I'm sure you can relate, like you hear news about someone and you're happy for them, but there's also a part of you that's like, oh, I really want that for myself. And there's that envy and the jealousy. So something I started to do was just, if I saw something on Facebook or a friend told me some good news, I would just, if I knew that they were genuinely proud of it, I would just congratulate them. And at first it was like a little bit, not fake, but it wasn't like, it was probably like 90% sincere. And now I'm just like, I'm wired to just, if someone's got good news, I'm just straight on it, because, you know, so much in this world is designed to keep us down. You know, you think about like advertising and just jealousy and envy, like there's a lot in this world that's trying to hold us back. And I want to be part of the force that builds people up and says, that is a good thing you did. Well done. You should be proud of yourself. You know, what are you going to do next? Like, tell me, like, how are you going to change the world? Like, we don't have these conversations generally. It's seen as, like, I don't know, brashness, big-headedness, arrogance. It doesn't even sort of land on my radar anymore, you know? So I suppose if that is part of your reality at the moment, a really good technique and something I use is just social media is a great way to start. Like, if you see someone sharing something on social media, you know, just give them a congratulations, give them a thumbs up, and you'll be surprised how that snowball effect will grow. And before you know it, it'll be natural for you, and you'll be able to celebrate your own success a little bit more.
I agree. Look, guys, please, whoever who's watching, do that what Arran says. Celebrate everybody's success. And I like what you said
100%.
about how you are helping what are you doing for the society to improve? Every person came here with a gift. And that's the thing, just put it out there to serve others.
Yeah.
The other day I was talking to a beautiful woman about the person who worked his butt off until 70 years old, and the other person who lived from the government, and both of them, they are not happy because they didn't enjoy life. So one day living from the government is totally depressed with anxiety, and the person who worked his butt off is sick because of work, too much work.
Yeah.
So it's not creating a lifestyle. So I think it's where we are living with the pandemic, being isolated at home, is an opportunity to see inside of yourself what is your own gift. And nowadays we have plenty of coaches. This YouTube channel has different coaches where you can see who you resonate with, and you can reach out for help to anybody of them. And
that's a great way to do it too. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it? I did this channel for a purpose, and so like that. I see it sincerely. I see it as a huge opportunity to be at home, to be with your family, and just to improve. But some people, they are stuck in that fog of negativity, low energy in a negative way, and so on, and they cannot find any way. And for that reason, we are here to help them, aren't we?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So my next question. Let's see. So do you have a couple of examples? What kind of men, or what kind of problems men come to you? What kind of problems men come to you? Sorry, I'm trying to figure it out my Spanish, but it's okay. I know you understand.
That's okay. You're doing well.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think, and you probably find this too, like in coaching, you know, we have like a saying, like, the problem is never the problem. So people will often come to me with a problem, a scenario, and like, it's never like, you know, they'll come to me with, you know, like I've said before, like sometimes they want me to coach their partner, like people want me to coach their partner, and then when we get into it, like you can't control other people. So the only thing we can control is ourselves. So yeah, it might be an external thing, like it might be that they're not connecting like intimately with their wife, like you know, there's no sex or relationships dead, or maybe they're arguing with their wife because their wife's really ungrateful. You know, like the classic example of they're working really, really hard in their business and they're providing a great life for their wife, but she's ungrateful. And it's okay, yeah, you're providing financially, but like, where are you not providing, right? Like if you're putting everything into that business and then you're coming home and you're completely drained, like that's not fair, because we talked about providing as men, like anyone in a relationship, you need to provide intimacy and connection to that relationship. Like that's what a relationship is, right? I had a client the other day and we discussed their needs were kind of being ignored by their partner. And I kind of said, well, what is a relationship? Like if a relationship isn't, that's kind of the definition for a relationship for me, right? Like it's like a 50-50, even in business. Like if you're paying someone for a service, you want to get a service that is of equal value to what you're paying, right? Like if you go to Coles and you bought a loaf of bread, you're not going to pay like $20 for a loaf of bread. That's not fair exchange. So that's not a healthy business relationship, is it? So it's the same with an intimate relationship. Like if you're ignoring what your partner's saying, or you're kind of discounting what they say all the time, and vice versa, that's not a relationship. It's got to be 50-50. So yeah, they had this kind of view that they were always giving, like they were always the one that was giving, a real people pleaser in this relationship, and the other person would just take all the time and kind of were in their own little world. So I suppose any kind of external problem can be broken down into like our internal world and how we react emotionally to what's coming up.
Yeah. And that is why I can see that as well with my clients. Like they have the people pleasing role, and that's not serving them at all, and that's like a holding them back, and a lot of things. But I like to my coaching is just a one-on-one, and as well very tailored to my clients. So every single person is they have their own uniqueness, and I can see in your case that you have like a few things that repeated in each client. And yeah, but at the same time, it's like, do you work one-on-one? I enjoy, yeah.
Yes, yeah,
on a one-on-one. So it's a private, like a very private and intimate coaching session one-on-one with your clients. So that is so good, so good. So anybody who's watching this video, remember he works one-on-one, not group coaching. How cool is that? Cool. So Arran, where
so cool.
All of these guys who are listening or watching this video, where they can find you?
Yeah. So obviously I said in the last video we did, Facebook's a really good place to find me. Like that's probably the main platform I use, share a lot of my content and my videos. So we'll put the link under the video again, but yeah, Arran Macdougall on Facebook. And then I've also got a business page, GRO, like Grow Coaching, and Grow Coaching on Instagram as well.
Amazing. I will put all of the details, your social media, where people can find you. And guys, send him a message if you want to talk to him, to help you to sort it out your mind, especially now with the isolation. Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. Bye guys. See you next time in another video. Bye, Arran.
Cheers.